Welcome back, everyone, to another Kingly Decree. Thank you all for joining me here live. Let me just make sure that we are good to go as I am setting up here, waiting for this to pop up. Is it not showing me live? There we go. What is going on, everybody? As we are getting things together here for another Friday evening at 8:30 Central Standard Time, or 8:30, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, live here on YouTube, where we meet and we go into a deeper teaching. We did not meet on Tuesday, gentlemen, so we are going to be discussing. My whole system is freezing up. Okay, so we're going to be discussing something that was going to be talked about on Tuesday. We're going to go into a deep dive onto it today. This evening with everyone. Just some short announcements while we wait for Brother Andre to join us. The Monday morning routine with Jesus live every Monday at 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. This Monday will be a little bit different. I feel like the Holy Spirit has a special condensed prayer that he wants me to pray. So it probably won't be a long Kingly Decree Monday morning routine prayer, nor will it be one of prayer requests. And that's at 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time on Monday. And then again, there's no meeting on Tuesday. There's no men's meeting on Tuesday. We will be back again on in July. In July, the first Tuesday of July. We did it equally yoked this past Thursday. If you missed that, it's one that Brittany and I did about kingdom growth. It was a good revelation of what we prayed about and discussed on the Monday morning routine. So if you missed that, definitely go back and check that out. All right. And since this week with the Monday morning routine, we were praying into the Father, and there were some other prayers that were in there, and it was really, really guided by the Lord. I don't remember much of what I prayed for or the words that I guess I was giving out as I was praying there. But with all that being said, we are back tonight, thankfully, with Brother Andre here. How are you, sir? How are you, sir? How are you? Ooh, let me lower the volume down on my headphones before I blow my eardrums out.
Hey, how's my mic? I sound okay? Or?
Yeah, you sound good. You sound
Okay,
great.
all right. Yeah. What's going on?
Nothing much, man. How was your week?
It was busy.
Yes, it was absolutely busy for me too. We'll talk about this real quick. This week taught me a lot about what it really means to be in full-time ministry. All right, and I think people have it confused, especially when they ask like, are you in full-time ministry, or don't really understand what full-time ministry looks like. And some believe it's always about what we're doing now, like ministering to people and praying for folks and stuff like that. And as I was out helping someone in our church, a lady at the church, build a fence Wednesday and Thursday, on like last minute notice, like 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesdays, like, hey, can anybody go out there? On Wednesday, she has nobody. And I went out there, and then while out there, I realized that the job won't finish, so it needed to be another day to do some of the stuff that needed to be done. But on Thursday, the Lord was really speaking to me about what full-time ministry looks like, because it could be Monday, I'm praying for folks. Tuesday, I'm ministering to men. Wednesday night, I am ministering to youth boys. Thursday, all day long, I'm out here building a fence. Like, you never know what you're going to be doing when you're full-time ministry, and you have to be flexible for that, and also be open to not receive anything from it.
Absolutely. Yep.
And it's what is crazy is, as we live out these scriptures, those that give to the poor will never lack, help the children, help the widows, the orphans, things of that nature, and you will be blessed. It is hard for people to see exactly how it is that we obtain items, how we get money, how we live, how we survive. And all the while, the gentleman that I was working with that had he just started the fencing company. He was like, this is one of the best weeks that I've had because you guys have made it fun. out here doing this fence stuff. He was like, this is one of the reasons why I started coming to this church in the first place, on how the situation here was handled, and just a community of imperfect people trying to be perfect in Christ. And this is where I needed to be. And, when you go out to these things, you don't even realize just by lending a hand that you're serving, right? You're ministry. Like, ministry is serving. It's like literally the definition of meaning is serving, right? But we have this thing, man. I was just scrolling through YouTube waiting to go live, and it's like, you got these really done up fancy pastors that keep on getting exposed about the things that they're doing with this or the things that they're doing with that. And it's really crazy to me that it's very easy for me to hand out money in abundance, right? Out of my abundance, it's very easy for me to do that. Like, hey, I work all day long. Let me just give. But it is very difficult for people to sacrifice something.
Yeah.
There was one gentleman, Skyler, he was out there helping for a little bit, and he didn't go to work for like 3 days to help. He was like, yeah, I know I'm missing out on getting paid or whatever, but I'm getting paid right now as I'm working.
Right. He understands what ministry is and making that sacrifice as far as his job goes.
Mm-hmm.
That's something now. Some people can't do that. So.
Right. Some people cannot literally do that. They need notice to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
and I know some other gentlemen that have literally taken time off of work, like put in their vacation time to help a woman move. Because I've been a part of that too. So it's like there's some men that get it, and there's some men that don't get it, and there's some men that would love to be able to be there that can't do it, right? But I'm not here to pass judgment on any of that stuff or like focus. The focus is like when he calls you to full-time ministry, mm-hmm. that could be you're starting your own business, you're running your own business, and on a Saturday you might be cutting that old lady's grass because she can't do it herself.
Right. Absolutely.
Or on Sunday, you might be downtown feeding the homeless.
Yep.
And then Monday morning, you tired because you was out there all day yesterday, but you still handling your business at work.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy to me.
Yep. All of that. It's all of that. It's, even, and the part that people hate to talk about. Yeah, it is even sometimes giving up your personal, possession, your mm-hmm. finances. Mm-hmm. Whatever that might be, you know what I mean? It may be that, some people are in position just to be that. I always said God don't make you rich just so you could have nice things. You know mm-hmm. what I mean? Everybody in the scripture who got rich by God, they was also givers. They gave of their time, their mm-hmm. whatever, giving to the poor. Those are the people who God made rich, and they gave. That's how they gave back. That's how they did whatever, whatever form of service it is. Mm-hmm. What I mean? Like I said, whether it's feeding, you might be the one who's financing the feeding of
yep.
the 5,000. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You might be the one who, God said, I need you to buy 10 cars
yep.
and give them to these people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of that comes into play. Ministry looks, it's service of no matter what that service might look like, but
yep.
it's service to other people, and mm-hmm. it might be unbelievers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But your job is to serve.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. Like it wasn't joy, but I wasn't upset that I was out there either. If that makes any sense. I never, and like so here in Tennessee, there's like this much dirt and this much limestone rock. So it was like the auger would go like right here and it would stop. And then we're at here with dig poles, like literally just chipping away at rock. Only had one jackhammer, so one guy's on one jackhammer, and we just over here chipping and chipping and chipping. Like, from what I realized, that that labor is not good for man. Like you need tools, bro. Like you need tools because for real, like that's why I see like these men out here that do like, building, carpentry, all this stuff. Their fingers are like this, or they're like hunched over walking, like years of like pounding on your body every single day. I couldn't imagine like God gave him the business to do fences. He poured everything he got into doing the fences. And this is what you're doing every day in the heat? In the heat, every day.
Yep.
And then the cold. Sometimes maybe the rain if you're not pouring anything in. That's crazy.
So again, ministry looks different. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Some you know, it's physical, some it might be mental. You know, whatever that looks like. You know,
Yep.
your job is to say yes.
Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, now I realize why I didn't have a meeting on Tuesday. And the man was like, "You need to prepare for what you about to be doing." Because like literally, when I got out there Wednesday at like 8 a.m. And we were working on it, around 3 o'clock we were expecting the cement truck to come out, but the holes weren't deep enough, bro. It won't deep enough. And the cement truck guy, when he called him, he was like, "Hey, do you still want me to come out today?" And he was like, "Yeah, you can come out today." He was like, "You sure? Because I can get you first thing in the morning." And then he was like, "Let me call you back." So then he got a phone. He was like, "What you think?" And I was like, "Bro, like, let's do it in the morning. We spend the rest of the time this afternoon digging the holes deep enough so that when the cement truck comes out in the morning, then we are all comfortable with the depth that was at." So, but I told him, I was like, "Look, you're gonna have to come and pick me up in the morning because I can't be with the car out all day with the family at home." So he came and got me 7:30 in the morning. We went back out there. There was a couple of guys out there, and like thankfully the cement truck dude, you know, it looked like he's a veteran. He'd been doing it for years because we started off in wheelbarrows, and that wheelbarrow stuff got crazy real quick. So he was able to follow the truck along the road until he couldn't no more. So yeah, man, there's no telling what you're gonna be doing. And here's what's even funnier about it is that I was trying to talk the Lord out of having me do it Wednesday. Because I was like, well, I can't go out there on Wednesday because I got a one-on-one at 10 o'clock in the morning. So it's like, I'm just going to be like, nah, let me get in the car and make this phone call for an hour or such and such. But then I got a text message while I was out like, "Hey, can you talk tonight?" from the 10 o'clock. So I was like, fine. I hear you, Holy Spirit. We'll get it out the way now. I don't know what I just did, but it was done.
It's a seed soon.
Yep. So, yeah, man, that's been my week. That has been my week. Serving, and serving. And I had enough energy after being out there all day on Wednesday to then deal with the 10 to 12-year-old boys for youth group, which they were fun too. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But cool. Do you have any interesting stories now? Yeah.
Nothing I can say on the air.
All right, so this week we're in Ecclesiastes 10.
Who?
Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 10. Ecclesiastes 10. That is so difficult for me to say for some reason. Anyways, we're in Ecclesiastes 10, a fool. And you know, we've been going through, I think we've been going through the other side of the fool this whole entire time. Wisdom, discernment, what a man should be, what a man should not. We haven't talked about a fool in the manner that he spends all the time in this chapter talking about. And I'm in the New King James Version, so it's titled Wisdom and Folly. But I like it because it specifically talks about the foolish nature that we have, and especially starting in verse 1. I'm gonna start there. If you want to jump after that to something else, go for it. But this stuck with me. Dead flies putrefy the perfumer's ointment and cause it to give off a foul odor. So does a little folly to one respected for wisdom and honor. And I was like, man, how true is that? When you do one thing, everybody will look at you differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Out of all of the stuff, like what I just talked about, right? Everybody forget I built to somebody a fence. I do one thing, one little foolish thing. I'll get remembered for that. What was the saying? What was the saying? Like the truth? What was this? What was it like? the things you give get written in the sand, and the things that you don't get written in stone. Like everybody remembers what you don't do,
Yeah,
but
something
the
like
things
that.
that you do, it gets blown away or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, yeah. I don't know the exact same. I know what you're referring to. I
Yeah,
don't know the exact thing. Yeah, it's like you could do 100 good things, but that one bad thing that you know they gonna remember that.
that's what
You
you're
know
known
what I
for.
mean? Yeah, yeah. You know, yeah. So the New Living Translation says it as dead flies cause even a bottle of perfume to stink, so a little foolishness spoils great wisdom and honor. You know what I mean? So yeah, like any, yeah, like we said, that one thing. You know what I mean? You can mess up. You know, it's you could build 100 buildings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You think about well, we'll get to that. So we talk about a certain artist, but he did a lot of crazy stuff. So we're gonna leave that alone.
You know what I thought about when you said that was that one girl. I was sharing that with Brittany. That one girl that did whatever she did, and she had to sit in the back of the church,
Hmm. Hmm.
and she sat through it, and eventually was brought back in.
Yep. Yeah, that don't happen too much nowadays. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, she get through when something happened, and she ended up being sat down,
Hmm.
and so many people walked away from church behind that kind of because they can't take that kind of punishment in church.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And they usually leave, but she was maybe the only one that I've seen personally that took it and
Hmm.
and continued. Stayed and she prayed, she worshipped, she did whatever from that back row, and when the pastor released her from the back row, she came back to wherever she normally would sit in the church.
And it
People,
wasn't brought up no more, huh?
no, not at all.
That's
And
so crazy.
yeah, but I mean that's kind of the thing about it. There's like I always say, church has a culture all on itself because people are like, but why you sit on that's just
Hmm.
how some churches do it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The back row is the punishment row. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? It's like you're kind of again shamed. Because
Yeah.
if I come in and you normally sit at the front somewhere and you sitting back there looking all sad and pitiful, all right, something happened. And
Hmm.
everybody knows that. You know what I mean? So again, that's something that's been taken kind of off subject, but that's kind of something that is not seen in church much anymore. That shame, that
Yeah.
being made, that being punished for something that you did, being called out for something that you did. That's not, you know.
Right.
Hmm.
Being held accountable.
Yeah.
So verse 2 was also very interesting. And I want to get your perspective on this. A wise man's heart is in his right hand, but a fool's heart at his left. Why is that? Like, what is the deeper meaning by that?
Okay.
I
So
mean, yeah.
the when we talk about the right hand is the place of favor, the place
Hmm.
of of power. You know what I mean? Jesus sitting at the right hand of the Father didn't necessarily literally mean sitting at the right hand like people. That's a whole nother thing. It meant in a position of power,
Yeah.
position of authority. So, your heart. I'm guessing it means again on the left hand is kind of the bad place, the negative. The right hand is good. The right hand is good. The left hand is
Hmm.
bad. But so their heart being at their right hand is their passion, their whatever they it's in a place of high esteem. That's they're being led sort of by a good thing. Maybe an idea, a plan, or whatever the case is that they're doing. When they're passionate about it and they pushing forward with it versus you ain't doing nothing. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You just talking. You ain't So that's kind of what that means. Fool's heart at his left hand is you're not, you have nothing. You're not doing anything. You know.
You know, I was thinking like, is it because it's really like your right hand is your dominant hand, your strong hand? I was thinking that it's at a place of honor, as well. So I agree with you on that point. But like, when you think about your left hand, like It's like your weaker hand. You're not dominant hand. You don't write with your left hand. Some people are lefties. Most people are righties.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, like, just the analogy of like, if your weakness starts taking over, right?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, verse 3, even when a fool walks along the way, he lacks wisdom, and he shows everyone that he is a fool. Now, I don't know, man. Sometimes, being so public like we are, right? Talking, it's like, I try to be so careful with what I say, but at the same time, so careful to be still me, but like filtering it through. And I always think like there at some point in time, like regardless of who you encounter or who you're before, you're gonna look like a fool to somebody. You can't like you don't have 100% guaranteed success rate that you ain't gonna rub somebody the wrong way, offend somebody with your boldness, or not know what you're talking about in a situation where that person walks away like, oh, he's immature, he don't got it yet.
Yeah, but I think those are different. Those are kind of a different thing. Yeah, somebody might look at you as a certain way, but that doesn't mean that's what defines you. That could
Right.
be their thought, their thoughts about you, whatever. Somebody else might be thinking the opposite. But I think this is kind of saying like your whole thing, you're a fool.
The whole being.
Something wrong with you. Something ain't clicking right. Something whatever it is, you know what I mean. It's even by, they can tell by the way you walk. You
Right.
walk
That
like
was,
you walk like a fool.
yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
You
Like
have a
what's like
fool's gait.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like what is it like? And I think we may have seen someone like that. It's like, hey, get it together, man. You know what I mean? That kind
Yeah.
of thing. It's like, and you see they walking, they slouching, they don't, that whole thing that they carry. It's like that's it's,
Oh.
yeah, versus someone who may do a foolish thing, may say something foolish in the moment, you know, that's different than that's maybe once in a while you might versus every day. You look at them, you're like, oh, bruh, you know what I mean? Get it together, you know what I mean?
So you got the NLT pulled up, right? Read verse 4.
Okay, verse 4 is if your boss is angry at you, don't quit. A quiet spirit can overcome even great mistakes.
Yeah, because in the New King James says, if the spirit of the ruler rises against you, do not leave your post, for conciliation pacifies great offense. That's a message for today, man. That would have been a message to like younger me. Like if somebody getting angry at you, a little bit they kind of care. just a little bit they kind of care. Even when you make mistakes. So I'm glad that it says it in that interpretation, because it's like how are we rectifying the situation? Because even in that, the ruler can mismanage how he communicates to you in his anger, in his moment, right? And I didn't see this as like the Lord doing this. I see like this is general like real life
Yeah.
advice. I worked at this one place. It was selling magazines. And this is when I decided to move to Greensboro and make myself homeless or whatever. And it was Friday, and I knew if I did my whole entire shift, I wouldn't make it to Greensboro in enough time to go to the club that I wanted to go to. So what I did for lunch, I left and I never came back because I put my notice in. I told them I was out. And I just never came back. And so a couple of weeks later, of course, I came back to get my paycheck. And I came late too. I came super late at night because I think it closed at like 10 or 9. I think it might have been 10 because we were all the way up to 5 o'clock West Coast time or 6 o'clock West Coast time. And so I came late because I remember I came late because it was dark outside. And I tried to get my check. I tried to get my paycheck, but it was placed in a desk in an office that was locked, specifically waiting for me to come back and get this check. So when I come back to get the check, this one of the old heads there or whatever, he was the manager. I don't remember what they're called there. I'll tell you about that place off air. But yeah, he waited for me to show up, and they were like, "Nah, you can't get your check. You gotta wait for old buddy to come back." So old buddy came back, and he was like, "I'm gonna tell you this, Vic. Don't go around burning bridges, bro. Don't go around burning bridges." He was like, "That's not what you want to do." He was like, "I'm happy for you. You know, I'm rooting for you. You're a bright young man. Here's your check, but I just want to let you know that ain't the way that you go about doing it."
Right.
I said, "I appreciate you." Because me and him were close. Like, me and him were cool. I just bounced on him. I was like, "I'm out. I'm never coming back." After I came back a second time. Like, I quit that job, and then I lost my job. Then I came back to my old job because we all still hung out and stuff like that. So, and then I quit it again.
Wow.
And I just never, so I'll tell you all about it when we get off air. But but you know, I received that as like young man wisdom. Like, bro,
Yeah.
like, learn how to like take offense, right? Like, if somebody's coming at you with correction, like, learn how to take the advice. Don't go back. You know, everybody wants to speak back and not be embarrassed or whatever it might be. And just take the advice, take the wisdom, and then when y'all talk about it and communicate it, you know, you guys can move forward through stuff like that. So
That's one of the issues that I know a lot of young people have nowadays. They can't take correction. They can't take, you know, they get offended easily. You know, like, like I said, I have young adults in my house, and it's like, why are you mad for the boss asking you to do your job? They're just asking you to do something simple. You know what I mean? What you getting upset for? That's something. Honestly, that's something you should be doing anyway. You know what I mean? Why are you getting mad because they're asking you to, do this? That's your job description. Why are you upset? He's asking you to do it a certain way. They want you to do it faster, neater, whatever it is. That's what you're supposed to do. They
Right.
hired you for that reason.
Right.
Now they ask you for something crazy. Okay, something way out of your job description. You know what I mean? But that's part of your job. You know what I mean? That do what you're supposed to do. Keep your job. You know, they get offended and leave so quickly. Like I said, if the spirit of if the ruler rises against you, I mean, they yelling at you. They may be out of character for them to even.
Right.
Maybe you did something that bad. You deserve that. You know what I mean? But is it don't
And
leave
your
your post.
coolness will get them to be calm too and be like, I apologize for doing that.
Yeah.
It was just in the moment type of thing, and then y'all continue to move on. I think that is such great applicable advice. And as you were talking, I felt like you were talking to younger me, and it's like, man, if I had that understanding, probably I don't know how farther I would have been able to get. Because even as I look at, like, there was a gentleman that was there. He was 18, and he went up to the guy that owned the fencing company, and this had to be like 10 o'clock, bro. And he was like, "So, I have a question. Where do you see me at in this company?" And he was like, "We could talk about that later." And I heard it and I walked away like, "Bro, like, you're young, man. Like, that is not the appropriate time. That is not the appropriate thing." But if you had the wisdom, if you had like I guess that's the thing about being a youth. This is why Solomon is speaking this to his sons. It's like, because you don't know no better, right? You think that you just great thing, and then you only been here for a month, and you're young. And so, of course, he ain't show up the next day. He was sick.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you're not hurting people. You're not hurting nobody but yourself when you do stuff like that. You know what I mean?
exactly. Yep. All right, verse 5. There is an evil I have seen under the sun, as an error proceeding from the ruler. Folly is set in great dignity, while the rich sit in a lowly place. All right, what does that say in the NLT, verse 6?
I actually looked that one up. That's what even got me to open the NLT to see what it says. It says, from verse 5, right? It says, there's, you actually should read it all the way through verse 7 because all that's together.
Okay.
There is another evil I have seen under the sun. Kings and rulers make a grave mistake when they give great authority to foolish people and low positions to people of proven worth. Okay, 7. I have even seen servants riding horseback like princes and princes walking like servants.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So, like, Yeah,
You
that.
talk about this so often
Hmm.
about knowing the people that are around you.
Yeah. Yeah. Knowing who you have, knowing what's around you, like you know, and I've personally seen people get positions, whether it's in church, whether it's on the job, wherever it is that like should not have that position.
Hmm.
Or they the friend of the pastor, or or
Right.
they the friend,
That is it.
they the
Everywhere.
son of the manager, or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, he's an idiot. Why is he? Why you have him in that position? That's
Hmm.
not that's working against you. That's working against what God is trying to build with you. You know, don't put people who ain't qualified for positions. Again, know who you have. Like
Hmm.
you said, and this is not, this is talking about like people who have the ability, but they're humble. Like he's seen servants riding on horseback, like princes and princes walking like servants. Like they're in a position of humility. They walking like a servant is someone, he has it. He
Hmm.
has the ability to do, be, or whatever it is, but he's
Hmm.
not. He's not. It hasn't gone to his head. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? He's carrying himself. He has the dignity or whatever of a prince, but he's living. He's acting, keeping himself lowly like a servant.
Hmm.
Some people you give a little. You're a supervisor. They think they're the president of the company now. Like, just slow that down.
Yeah.
Slow
Right.
that down. You his supervisor. You're not my
Hmm.
supervisor. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And yeah, you get that. You see that a lot. People getting put in positions just because they know the person
Hmm.
or whatever, and they're not qualified. I said people in authority make this. They call it a grave mistake.
Hmm.
It's a terrible mistake. What I mean? To give somebody something who really should not have it.
Hmm.
Give somebody a position of power that shouldn't have it. Giving somebody, you want to take it into church, making somebody, give them a little position, and they're not qualified for it.
Hmm.
You never asked God should they have it,
Right.
and you ain't even cast lots to see that they should
Yep.
have it. You know what I mean? But you give it to them because they, some people get position in church because they do all the time.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Oh
Yep.
well, he faithful, so I'm gonna give it to him. He ain't
Hmm.
qualified though.
Right.
Okay, he comes every Sunday. That's awesome.
Right.
But he ain't qualified to do what you ask him to do.
Hmm.
You know, I see that happen way too often, far too frequently.
Man, I'm about to do. I'm about to give my proverb. What is it? There's something that I've seen under the sun, which is a fool to say that I will never do this if I was a manager, become a manager, and do
Hmm.
exactly what he said he
Yeah,
will never do.
yeah, yeah, all the time. Because you get that power. That power goes. Sometimes it goes to your head.
Hmm.
You get a little authority, and it goes to your head. And you should, the opposite of that. Humble yourself.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah, carry yourself with the dignity of the position that it has, but that doesn't make you the ruler now. You're the boss, and now
Right.
you know what I mean. The same character that you had, take it with you.
Hmm.
You know, again, like they always
We.
say, money brings out
Oh
whoever you
yeah.
are. Every
Hmm.
time, every single time. If you might have been secretly a jerk, but money is gonna bring that out. You get a little
Hmm.
raise, you're gonna act the fool.
And what's the other one? There's another grave thing that I've seen under the sun. Is a manager being brought in outside trying to tell you how you do your job.
Yeah, yeah, that's another
Oh
one.
my gosh.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you ain't never been here. I've been for 10 years.
yeah, that happens.
Another grave mistake.
Yeah, yeah, that's one of those things. Now they're trying to change everything up, and like, okay, we've been number one for a reason. You
Right.
know what I mean? Your job was so easy. Just come in and say, okay, keep going. You know
Right.
what I mean? But no, I think we should do this, and I think
Mm.
just a lack of wisdom.
Yeah.
Don't because people want to put their footprint on it. Well,
Hmm.
you don't always have to. If it's working, let it
Right.
work.
Yep.
Let it fly. Let it do what it's doing.
At least observe and see like
Right.
why the old person left and what you can bring to make it even better than what it is.
Right.
Anyways, verse 8, he who digs a pit will fall into it, and whoever breaks through a wall will be bitten by a serpent. I don't know if there's anything deep meaning to that.
Nah,
It is what it
just
is,
the
right?
folly. Just the folly. People,
Yeah.
foolish people doing dumb stuff.
Yep. Same thing with verse 9. He who quarries stones may be hurt by them, and he who splits wood may be endangered by it. If the axe is dull and one doesn't sharpen the edge, then he must use more strength, but wisdom brings success. He be starting off with this plain and simple stuff, but then he'll slide in the wisdom. He's like, here you go. Well, I mean, how true is that, right? If we're not constantly like what we do here, you know what I'm saying? Like sharpen iron with one another. If I wasn't sitting here sharpening iron, talking to you guys and getting y'all revelation and y'all perspectives, like I could just sit and keep on getting the same revelation, reading the Bible over and over again, unless the Holy Spirit is really like speaking to me in other ways where we can share and we can talk about. But even what Keith was talking about on last Tuesday, right? He was like, he's still going out to get certifications. He's still sharpening his axe. He's still adding more tools to his toolbox. Just because he got the job don't mean the job don't stop. Just because you got the place don't mean that you just now you settling, now you good, and you don't need to add more to your resume, add more knowledge to continue to grow. And that's when people find themselves laid off, and then they so behind on times and like all these different things. But that can go with anything, right? Even in a marriage, right? If you keep doing the same routine over and over and over, that thing gonna get dull. Then your wife bored. Then you bored. Then y'all both bored looking at each other. Then y'all start going through a phase where y'all looking at each other like y'all roommates and stuff. Like, what you doing today? I don't know. All right, I'll see you later. Like, it's like, if you're not intentionally trying to grow or move or whatever that is with your blade, you won't be seeing that much success.
It's also about again having the wisdom to be prepared, having the wisdom to it's like you're about to tear that wall down or whatever. As the example goes, you're about to tear. There might be serpents back there. Be prepared for that. You know what I mean? You don't just you don't just throw your hand in a hole to see what's in it. You know what I mean? You got the wood. There might be something in it that can chew your arm off. You know what I mean?
Ticks.
So, yeah. Use wisdom.
Can't stand those things.
Oh yeah, they horrible.
Verse 11, a serpent may bite when it's not charmed. The babbler is no different. What is it saying there, NLT? Because that made me laugh.
Yeah. If a snake bites before you charm it, what's the use of being a snake charmer? That's all it says.
What does that even mean? That was one of those things. You try to be a little too deep for me.
Yeah. I mean, I guess at the time you would know. I mean, well, I guess, again, being prepared, you usually, they use whatever to charm a snake. But if he bites you before you charm it, then your job is for nothing. You're not
right.
You have no job. You know what I mean? The snake
is a waste. Yeah.
Yeah.
The word of a wise man's mouth are gracious, but the lips of a fool shall swallow him up. The words of his mouth begins with foolishness, and the end of his talk is raving madness.
Yeah.
The first thing that comes to mind is like, there's only but so much fast talk you can get away with.
Yeah.
Before you are counted as a fool. Like you always see those people get themselves in these positions really quick, and you wonder how. And it is talking. It shows it right here. It shows it. But at the end of it is his talk is raving madness, and it's too late. You put him in this position, right? The wise man's mouth are gracious, calm, like displaying the fruits, right? Talking with proper etiquette, having some type of respect or presence. What do the kids call it? Aura now, right? It's something about them. But then you get this fast, slick talking, manipulating guy that come in here and do exactly what you said, like get cool with the manager or get buddy with the passer or however it looks. And now you're getting complaints from the other employees about it because of the position that you place them in. Yeah. So now not only do you have a problem in your hands with the person that you place in power, now we looking at the person in power crazy too, because like, where was your discernment? Where was your antennas? Where was your wisdom? Like, how did you skip over all these people? Not to mention, like, people leave jobs because of that.
Yeah. So we had a guy, we talk about fast talking. Back when I was in New York, I used to work for Barnes and Noble. I was in the IT at Barnes and Noble, and they had hired a guy, temp to permanent, and on paper he had all the qualifications. You know what I mean? But when it came to physically doing the job, we was like, you don't know how to do that. You know, like I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like any if you A plus certified, you
You
should
should
at
know how to
least
plug up a printer.
you should know how, yeah, plug up a printer. You should know how to take the memory out, put another memory
Mm-hmm.
stick in. You know,
Yep.
basic stuff you should know as an
Right.
A plus certified technician. He had no clue, and it was like, why does, you know? So of course we start talking because we know how to do that stuff, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And it wasn't like, again, nothing hard. It was like nothing complex that he was being asked to do, but it was just like, you know, he don't know this stuff. But the way he talked, I've been doing it. But like,
Mm.
but kind of find out, he took the test, he passed the test. He never actually did the work.
Yeah, he had no
He
experience.
had no actual experience, but I guess on his resume he lied and said, "Oh, I have so many years." Da 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 da. But like,
Mm.
nah, we can tell. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when you talk about, wise words bring approval, but fools are destroyed by their own words. Yeah, eventually,
Yeah,
it'll come out.
you're gonna get
You know.
found out.
Yep.
Verse 14, a fool also multiplies words. No man knows what it is to be. Who can tell him what will be after him? The labor of fools weary them, for they do not even know how to go to the city. Exactly what you just gave an example of.
Hmm.
It's so crazy. Like, yeah, I'll meet you. Like, just imagine.
It's
You
just
just
they
bring,
really good at telling lies, but eventually,
yeah,
those lies catch up to you.
yeah.
Eventually, talking about, truth coming to light. Done in the dark, comes to
Mm-hmm.
light or whatever. Eventually, the truth will come out. It's like, nah, he don't really. Nah, he talk good, but he don't really know what he talking about. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And that's in any place. I mean, whether it's,
Mm-hmm.
church, whatever. Like I said, there's a guy online that watch it once in a while. Claims he's I'm a man of the cloth, but like the more he talk and like he trying to throw a Bible verse and something, like, bro, that was so out of context. That don't even mean what you think it means. That's not even anything close to what you're trying to talk about and use it for. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? But like, people do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they'll just sound deep. You know,
Yeah.
they'll throw a Bible verse where the Bible says da da da. Like, no, I don't say that. I had a friend who used to try to do that to me all the time. What was it? What was the one of Benjamin Franklin's sayings that uh, like, don't the Bible say? I mean, it wasn't this, it was something else. So
Mm.
don't the Bible say early to bed, early to rise? Like, no, it don't. Go sit down.
Abe Lincoln said that.
I'm like, what are you talking
Quoting
about?
philosophers out here.
Like, no, it's not in the Bible.
You know, as I was thinking about this, and he's very much so talking about, the heart telling on you through your lips. For how these foolish people are, the characteristics that you could see. But even in some of his in his proverbs, it says even a quiet fool can pass by
Mm-hmm.
as someone as wise. So even if you were in there and you just like, man, I don't even know how I got here, bro, but I'm
Just
here.
shut up.
Yeah,
Just
but
shut
just
up.
be quiet.
Shut up and learn.
Like, even being quiet is wise. They
Mm-hmm.
don't even have to know that you don't know how to do some of this stuff.
Right.
You
Yeah.
just learn, do what you got to do, see
As you
see the
go.
landscape. Man, I used to say that all the time in interviews, and I think this is probably what would get me the job over everybody else. And it's like, what are your like goals and expectations? And it's like, really just, I need the first 90 days to get an understanding of how you guys operate, how the culture operates, how the thing. I like this. The systems are the same all over the place, but the procedures on how you
Right.
get to these outcomes are different.
Yeah.
So I'm like, at least in 90 days, by the time 90 days come, I should have a good understanding of what you do.
How
So
you
that,
do it. Yeah.
right. Yep. And so I can find my place and my position, and then we can start working on growing and learning more things. But like, yeah, even with that, like, if you're honest with your resume, or you're honest with what you're saying, it's like, this is all I've done.
Right.
And I haven't done some of these other line items that you're looking for experience wise, but that doesn't mean I can't learn them.
Right.
Verse 16, woe to you, O land, when your king is a child and your princes feast in the morning. We already know
Ouch.
that that youthful experience is not going to be good for you. Blessed are you, O land, when your king is the son of nobles and your princes feast at the proper time for strength and not for drunkenness. What does it say in the NLT? Same thing, kind of.
Verse 17.
Yeah,
Happy the land whose king is a noble leader and whose leaders feast at the proper time to gain strength for their work, not to get drunk.
yeah. I mean, that's pretty much self-explanatory.
Mm-hmm.
You want to expound on that or no?
No, I mean it's just that they're doing what's appropriate at the appropriate time, not it's kind of self-explanatory. Like like do what you're supposed to be doing when you're supposed to be doing it, basically.
Right. Yeah, you can have fun later.
Yeah.
Because of laziness, the building decays, and through idleness of hands, the house leaks. We've been talking about that so much. Like, being diligent, being proper stewards as men, just making sure that if you see the problem, fix the problem. If you're not going to fix the problem right then and there, write it down somewhere because, I mean, we can put band aids over band aids over band aids, but we don't, once the house starts leaking, that becomes something that should have been taken care of when it was minor. Like that's what I see, like little minor things because we got lazy in the moment. We didn't want to really handle it right then and there. Eventually, it's going to become a problem, and then you're going to be even more frustrated because you took it. And they're like, "Why are you mad at me?" And it's like, I'm not mad at you. I'm more mad at myself because I should have done this
Right.
when it wasn't as big of a problem. You find that sometimes with cars, right? It's like this little light is on, and I'll get it looked at in a couple of weeks. And then a couple of months go by, and then you get this bill. And it's like, well, why didn't you come in when you seen the light? You said it was on for 4 months. I'm like,
Yeah. Right. Well, it was still running.
right,
And at least get it looked at.
right. Verse 19, a feast is made for laughter and wine makes merry, but money answers everything. I mean, I don't know how true that gets. But I want to say money does answer everything if you steward your finances properly.
Right.
Because money will also make problems.
Yep.
It will
Absolutely.
cause big problems, right? It's cool. You get your money, you invite some friends over for a feast, y'all laugh, y'all enjoy yourselves. Fine. Wine might make you merry, all right? Might make the little, I don't know, I don't drink wine no more. All I know is it used to make the party pop a little bit more.
There's a little more.
Just a little bit more, right? But money will ruin a party fast.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Money will ruin a relationship quick. Money will tear a family right down the middle. Or it could bring people together.
Oh, I
It
can
could
bring
build
it
it.
together.
It could build a community. It could build a church. It could build
Proper
a house.
stewardship.
Yep.
Yeah. Proper stewardship. Yep.
Yep.
That's what that is.
Absolutely. All right, last verse. Verse 20. Do not curse the king even in your thought. Do not curse the rich even in your bedroom, for a bird of the air may carry your voice, and a bird in flight may tell the matter. You know what's so funny about this? I forgot that this verse was even in here. Because I thought about this week, and I even texted this to Brittany, and I'll be very, very, very transparent. I complain a lot to her to get it off my chest, right? But it's like this. It's the same. Not even in your thoughts.
Yeah.
And I told her, I was like, I'm not doing that no more. Because what it's doing is it's building this like weight, and it almost feels as if I'm allowing offense to take root, or I'm allowing that door to be opened. And then I wonder why my dreams are being crazy, or I wonder why every time somebody speaks, I'm feeling a certain way, or I wonder like every time I get a text message, it's like, you ever see that? You get a text message from somebody, and immediately before you even read it, you go,
Yeah.
right, so, what you want now?
Yeah,
And it's like, hey, bro, you want to go grab some coffee? And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, right? But I mean that.
It'd be one of those. Hey, bro, I just wanted to let you know that I'm thinking about you and God loves you. Like, oh,
Right. Whoa. Right. But I mean, that's a really the thing that I like, at least about myself, and I find that with us, is that we are very self-aware when we're going like this, and we need to push ourselves back here. and that we're very open to talk about those things. Because yeah, like I literally text Brittany that I was like, I have a lot to say, and I promised you on Monday that I was gonna stop doing it.
You're like, ah.
Right, I could do this, but I'm not. And it helps. It really does help. It really does. Because you sit there and you stew on stuff, or you make scenarios that don't even exist.
Yeah, yeah,
And then you're interacting with people over scenarios that you came up, waiting for somebody to say something, and then you're gonna want to acting like a fool. When they're like, well, I always loved Vic. Like, why is he acting like this? I never did anything wrong. Why is he acting? Because you were allowing the improper seeds to start sowing in here that then go down to here that then come up out your mouth.
and you mad about something that didn't even happen.
Right.
Like you let it fester. You start thinking about it, and now you playing scenarios in your head. Well, if they say this, and I'm gonna say this, and if they do this, and now you mad,
Exactly.
and you built up this case against a person. You done judged the situation, and the person never even said it.
Yep.
You said that in your own heart about it.
Yep.
Now you mad about something they didn't even say, and they
Yep.
come in the room and they don't know why you mad at them because you played out this whole scenario in your own head.
Yep. I used to have full blown arguments with people in my mind, and then be done with it for real. Like I would have full blown arguments with somebody, and then I act like nothing ever happened. And then as soon as you get into a real altercation with somebody, you bringing up all that stuff from the past into this one. Like, why are we talking about something that happened 2 years ago?
Right. Yeah. That kind of stuff happened over the weekend, but that's who knows.
That's a time for a different. It's after the show,
Yeah.
after party, the green room talk.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought about this verse, and then seeing it come to pass is like, and even do not curse the rich. Like you find yourself being like, what they do for a living that they get to drive that? You don't even realize that you cursing them because you looking at what they got. Like, man, I wonder what they doing that they got this big old house. Or I'm sure they don't got no problems. Like, how do you know?
Right.
Everybody got problems. There's somebody looking at you like, man, I would love to do what Vic doing, but I'm stuck here doing this. And it's like, well, if I had their kind of money, I wouldn't have any problems. Well, you know what? Why don't y'all switch positions and see how much?
It's the one thing of somebody else's anointing, but you don't want to go through what they went through to get there. I think we talked about that last week or whatever it was. You look at certain people and certain preachers, and well, I wish I had what he had or she had or whatever the case is, but you don't want to go through what they went through to get to where they are. There's some preachers that went through some crazy stuff to get the level of anointing that they have, the level of blessing in their life that they have. But more often than not, we don't want to go through those things that they went through to get there. You don't want to be, this preacher, they was abandoned by their mom, and they were, this happened and that happened, and they were homeless, and they were. That's why they can speak with such conviction about what the Lord did, because they lived it. They went through some stuff, and God took them through some stuff, and now they're on the other side of that. And now we're watching them prosper and be blessed and all this other stuff. Now, I want what they got. I want the no, you ain't been through the dirt they went through to get to the glory that God gave them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You didn't go through that, but you now see there's all these preachers that got money. No, you don't know what they went through to get there.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't know how long they okay, let's say they ain't go. You don't know how long they stayed on their face before the Lord to get to where they at. You know what I mean? You barely want to get up to pray in the morning. You talking about you want the anointing that this person has.
Yep.
You barely don't, you never fasted a day in your life, but you want to have what they, come on, man, that's not how that works.
Right.
That's not how that works.
I think you were talking about T.D. Jakes.
Yeah. People are always talking about him, all the time. Oh, he's another one of the money preachers, da-da-da-da. Nah, that means to kind of, just out of, as a personal whatever, he used to come to our church in New York all the time. He used to travel from West Virginia when he used to be in West Virginia. And, that man preached some powerful messages then when he had no money. You know what I mean? And he talks about what the Lord took him through and what blessings the Lord gave him in the process of getting to where he is now. And people, they see now, but like a lot of people jump on the bandwagon at the finish line. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
you wasn't there when he started. You got all kind of people got all kinds of things to say about people. That's why I said don't judge them. Don't we? We judge people too soon. We don't know
Mm-hmm.
what God is doing with that person. We don't know what God is taking them through to get to the other side of it. Our job is to pray, not to judge them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We can talk about whatever sinful that we know that they did. There's a lot of stuff based on speculation. Well, he was at the Diddy party. There's a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
at the Diddy party. There was different levels.
Yes.
As a
A lot
person
of
who
your.
came out of the entertainment industry, there's different levels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and people don't understand that. It's the daytime party. It's the equivalent like back in the day when the kid's birthday party turned to the adult party in the evening.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
same principle.
Yep.
You know, there was the kids party and the adult party. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Now you ain't gotta like the man. Right? That's up to you. But you know, and there's a lot of other preachers like that also. You were not there to see what they went through to get to where they at, but you're
Mm-hmm.
ready to judge them.
Mm-hmm.
You're ready to judge them, and there's jealousy and all kind of other things. Surrounding your feelings about this preacher. You know what I mean? And you're judging them before their time. You don't even
Right.
know. You don't know. God ain't done with them yet. But again, I don't want to say names, but there's people online who you know they I ain't gonna go there, but if I said it, what I'm talking about. Who but they always out there criticizing every preacher, everybody. Oh, he's this and he's you
Mm-hmm.
know see because he a prosperity preacher. That's why he took this out of context, and that's why nobody perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Scripture
Mm-hmm.
talks about they over there preaching. They preaching. They haven't been with us. They preaching Jesus. Jesus, they preaching about you, the gospel, whatever. But they haven't been walking with us. He said they're not against us. They for us.
Right.
Everybody ain't gonna have the full thing correct, but they trying to preach Jesus.
Right.
Let's not cast judgment on these people. We they preaching? Are they preaching the Jesus of the Bible?
Right.
You know, they may not have this one part right. They may not have this one part right. But they're trying to further the gospel. Why? Who are you to judge? Who made you the judge of all the other preachers? Like your life is together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't do that. I don't. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something that's blatantly antichrist. You can look at the
Yeah.
scripture. Okay, what you saying ain't lined up with scripture. You're preaching the opposite of what the Bible says.
Mm-hmm.
That's wrong. You know what I mean? But if they preach in the scriptures, they may get some parts of it wrong, whatever the case is, may not have a full understanding of it. Then okay, instead of calling them a heretic, instead of calling them all kinds of whatever names, if you're in a position of any type of authority, because there's a difference between somebody who just came into church trying to go and talk to somebody who you may not be in a position where your bishop or whoever will be able to hear your voice.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people sometimes on the same, there's other preachers or whatever, you're on the same level. If you have a disagreement with that person, or you disagree with their doctrine or whatever, sit down and talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you might find out you wrong, not him.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You might find out your view of it is incorrect. I think one of the biggest things that we got wrong or that we do wrong, and we talked about this before. We got all these exposing ministries and things like that. I think that there's something wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's one thing to talk about, sin and whatever the case is. But like when you come for the person, you know, like the way they come at some of these preachers and some of these people, like I said, it's one thing if you want to challenge doctrine, to challenge doctrine. This is this belief. This is why I disagree with this belief, and leave it at that.
Right.
But they get personal.
They get
They get,
down.
and
They
it's like,
got get name calling and
yeah,
everything.
that's flesh.
Sound effects and all that.
Yeah, all that extra stuff. That's all flesh.
Yep.
You know,
It's entertainment.
and to put it out, I doubt they'll ever hear it. I doubt they ever see me. I'm nobody to these people. But I'm just saying for what it is. I talked to you. I said it to you about it. We talked about it before. I don't want to say any names, but they'll know if they see it. When you out there and you are doing apologetics ministries, and now you at this point where when you saying whatever. Now you wearing a chef's hat, and now you got this stirring this pot like
Mm-hmm.
you cook them. That's arrogance, and that's not God. I don't care if you're right in what you're saying. That's arrogance, and you need to be careful with that.
Yeah,
Really good at that.
for sure. Yeah, you made me look at that a little differently as well. All right. I don't think we have anything else to talk about when it comes to these fools out here. we will leave them alone, but we'll.
Now, there's a thing too now because people don't like to hear that word fool. You know, the Bible. A couple of times the scripture says, he talks about the fool, and one of the things is he said the fool has said in his heart there is no God, and there's a lot of that going on too nowadays. The Bible calls you a fool. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you say there is no God, you're a fool. There's too much. There's too much out there to look at for you to say there is no God. There's no higher power. There's nothing that's greater than me out there that created this universe. It's just not.
Well, I was about to say, like, even in doing this teaching here, I already explained there were certain points where the mirror just pointed up to me when I was like, oh, I need to stop being foolish myself. So, at some point in time, we're all going to be here, but it's beautiful when you get corrected by the Lord.
Yeah, and being positioned, and that's a person who's not a fool, who allows themselves to be corrected by the Lord,
Right.
who's humble enough to take correction. A lot of people just aren't nowadays.
Yep. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us yet again. Brother Andre here. This Friday, we meet here every Friday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I think I might be able to do next Friday as well. Maybe not.
Okay, let me know.
We'll figure it out as we go along. But if you guys would like to give to the ministry, that information is in the description below. If you want to join the ministry, the information is in the description below. There's a ton of stuff in the description below. Just go there.
Go to the description below.
Just go in the description below and just see what you like and start clicking on things. All right. But y'all have an amazing and blessed weekend. We will catch you guys on the next one.